Hi again, everybody. I have a message here from Kirk. Hi, Ollie. Thanks for all your work helping others understand narcissism. I don't know of a means to contribute over here, Thailand. The usual methods don't seem to work as many places in the US don't take Thai credit cards. I do not wish to have a PayPal account. Will happily do so if I can figure it out. Anyway, here's my story. My mother once told me that when I was an infant, that my older brother, who was 2.5 years older, would climb into my crib and chew on my fingers. My father left my mother before I can remember. When I was about 2 years old, both us kids stayed with mom while daddy went out and played around and sowed his oats. I was sick as an infant, allergic to milk, and my mom tells me I cried a lot because I was so sick and had to drink a disgusting meat formula. Was my crying interfering with narcissistic father's beauty sleep? As long as I can remember, my brother would be a bit of a teaser, instigator, and became physically abusive and at times would continue to beat on my back as I curled up in a turtle position. As time went by, my older brother, golden child, would physically abuse me almost daily, sometimes 3 times a day. I don't ever recall, but I must have been acting out from the abuse, and my mom at some point took me, not my abusive brother, to see a psychiatrist, who apparently found out I was normal. She never took the firstborn to see the head doc. So the abuse continued until our parents decided to split us up, my brother going to live with my father and me with my mom. Prior to that, Golden Child would manipulate our mom into believing it was somehow my fault we fought all the time. We would both get a spanking, but it was easy to tell it didn't hurt him at all as he smirked. My father would stop by once a month or so and sometimes take us both out to do stuff, but the other times take only the firstborn golden child, go out hunting or whatever. I can't recall the exact age, but it was before my brother was 10 years of age. I remember crying at being left behind and also being told I was not old enough. So 2.5 years later, and I kept track, I figured I was old enough. But it seems the bar had been moved and I was still left behind. Perhaps due to my bugging, my father eventually took me out shooting, but mostly to watch him skeet shoot. A bit boring to sit and watch and not participate, although he did eventually let me skeet shoot once or twice, very briefly. Another time we were in the back hills. He did a little target shooting and allowed me to try. I was about 9 or 10 years old. He hands me his big pistol. It's either a 44 or a 45. Target was on the tree. He did show me how to lock my arms and aim. But when I fired, my arms flew up over my head and I had to take a few steps back to regain my balance. Reflecting back, I now ask why the big ass gun. Later, perhaps years, at some point I asked my father about not inviting me out hunting more often. His response was, "But you don't like hunting." What? Wow, I didn't realize that. Sarcasm. Seems the big gun was a seems the big gun deal was a narc tactic to turn me off from hunting and guns, so he could be alone to groom the golden child to be a narcissist like him. Maybe I lucked out at that point. I'm pretty sure I am an empath. When I brought friends over to meet my father, he would treat them disrespectfully, even a girlfriend. During Christmas at the golden child's house, presents were exchanged, but my girlfriend only got a $6 shirt out of all. That's about all I got from the golden child, even though I spent $200 on toys and stuff for his children. In my 20s, I suffered a series of injuries to my neck, a diving accident that was my risk and fault, as well as several car accidents afterward that weren't even remotely my fault. I have 4 bulged discs in my neck, bulging into my spinal cord, 2 of which have now been removed and 3 vertebrae fused with a titanium plate. I live in constant pain every day of my life for the past 28 years, yet since then have gone out and earned a bachelor's as well as MBA degrees. Yet my narcissistic father, who does not have a higher education and is retired from the construction field, still talks down to me or invalidates my achievements and has even assigned my achievements, even trivial things, to other people. Even the business that I founded, he gives credit to my wife, who at the beginning knew zero about the business I started and was even dubious about it. The last time visiting my narcissistic father, I wasn't educated on narcissism yet. I made the mistake of trusting him with a valuable piece of teak furniture that I had sent from overseas, Thailand, which was to be used to start some trade business with a few shops I was aware of in my home state. The piece was made of old growth teak, and I know my teak quite well, living in the land of teak 7 years at a time and living in the epicenter of the teak trade, Chimanji, or I don't know how, Chiang Mai or whatever. I know every shop in Ban Tai, Hong Dong, and San. I'm not even going to attempt that. Places narcissistic father doesn't even know about, let alone pronounce. Well, I can't pronounce it either. I've been to every shop in all three districts multiple times, and the top the top shops dozens of times. I know the Western prices and the local prices. The piece I bought was one of the most spectacular I'd come across in 7 years, and knew it would make an impact to prospective trading partners. Quite rare and immaculately carved on full panel, not laminated, old growth teak imported from Burma. The carving artist makes only one or two of these per year. I worked as a purchasing manager for a time during my stay at a large corporation I worked for over here in Thailand. So, of course, I had checked if it was okay with my father, if my father would be willing to store it in his garage until I got there before I sent it. I'm not going to send a $5,000 piece overseas without knowing someone is going to receive it, especially since narcissistic father and his seventh wife were going back and forth to another state rather often during the time. Of course, I'm going to make sure it is okay that they would be there when it arrives. Now, read the BS gaslighting in the letter attachment. His initial verbal justification was, I gave you that money gift previously. A gift that a little bird told me, and before it happened, that he was going to give all the kids a gift, but would claim it as a gift when it was, according to the source, actually a stipulation in our grandfather's will. Unfortunately, I'm unable to confirm that yet. So he may be usurping our grandfather's gift and then going to the next level of jackassery and trying to leverage it. Either way, what a dick. Gifts with invisible strings attached. When I did arrive, I asked where the cabinet was that I intended to rent a truck and get it out of his way. I was informed he sold it at an auction for $900. Total dick move. He then tried to BS gaslight me that it really wasn't worth more than that. Complete bullshit. Basically, he stole my stuff and hawked it, sabotaging me at the same time after agreeing to take care of it. See, narcissistic father doesn't know dick squat about teak, other than cheap frame laminated teak he sees at all the crappy furniture shops. There is a huge price difference between that and old growth teak. He had a diamond in his garage and didn't know it from his zirconia. Of course, there was no convincing him of his idiocy, despite the obvious fact that clearly the top wood carving artist working at the top shop in Thailand is not going to waste his time carving low value added framed laminated teak. Quite a novice error to assume otherwise, but the narcissist knows everything, right? Okay, so later we're riding in his overly lifted, oversized bumper, overly long, overly hardened, manly truck, which, like a total donk, he drives around town with the off-road suspension setting on, asking him to keep the suspension for smooth soft, as the vibrations were causing pain to my neck. We were driving in the city rural areas, no need for off-road suspension at all. The pain can last for days, and his reaction was, oh, come on. And a millisecond later, his flying monkey wife, my stepmom, with a Pavlovian response, pops off with a stupid man up. This level of disrespect in front of my wife and 3-year-old son. Apparently, it's too much fucking trouble for His Highness to lift a finger for his son. He also sends the signal of invalidation of my pain that I experience daily. I didn't realize it at the time, but apparently I was inadvertently asking him to deflate his penile extension for me. Seems that is just the way too much to ask for. In that light, dark, now I can understand why a cabinet occupying a 1 square meter of floor space in his garage must have been completely untenable. Plus, the opportunity to sabotage my business prospects must have been too much to bear. Other covert invalidations as well, such as alluding that I am some sort of traitor or deserter for living or working overseas far away from the narcissism, and such as sending me workout gadgets and running shoes as birthday or Christmas gifts. Less than useless to me, these things, if used, would cause more damage. What a dick. Also, apparently my suggestion of Skyping with me and his grandson from time to time is too much of a fucking hassle. Recently, I am still living overseas. He informs me he opened my mail without running it by me first. That was addressed to me and erroneously sent to his house. His excuse, I wanted to make sure it was worth forwarding. He knew it was my mail and admitted it. The mail was a tax statement, so his opening my statement was a lie. When I got fed up and tried to assert my boundaries and went off on a total narc rage and ultimate discard, as I had enough with the boundary crossing and was calling him out on a lot of his BS. More excuses. You didn't have a problem with me opening your mail and taking care of your driver's license. Yeah, first off, it's easy to tell the difference by the sender's identity, and a driver's license is not as sensitive as a tax statement. Normal people know that. He just wanted to know what you were making. The rest of his response, all lies as well. I was going to help you with it. Bullshit. If he was going to help, he would have kept it and paid it, or at least talked to me about it, not opened it, then sent it on. Anyway, I don't need help with that since it will expire soon, and that is based on the advice of a tax attorney. The state owes me $30,000, but insists to pay over 15 years in the form of deductions, even though I worked overseas and do not make more than the amount where I even have to pay taxes, so I can't even take the deductions. Yet I owe them $15K, which they wanted now. Bullshit in and of itself. You can do the math. And they ultimately owe me $15K. Secondly, during the time period of his grandiose driver's license heroism, my son, who was then 8 years old, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. This was a hard shock for us and my wife, and I had heavy hearts and a lot of impromptu but immediate learning to do on how to take care of a diabetic child. My son was confused and unable to understand, saying, I don't want to be this way the rest of my life. I am well up just remembering these heartbreaking moments, but apparently I should have been paying closer attention to narcissistic fathers' trivial activities half a world away than learning to take care of dire health issue with my young son. What an egocentric, self-important fucking dick. When I informed narcissistic father of his grandson's diagnosis, his response was to the effect, so sorry about child's name, let me know how we can help. Am I being overly sensitive as interpreting this? If you need any help, just beg for it. I don't know. Normally a parent would say, just let us know. Narcissistic father also has a habit of throwing golden child in my face and then trying to tell me I'm jealous. I know quite well I am not even remotely jealous, wouldn't want to be him. But now I do know that if narcissistic father is as jealous of me as Golden Child has always been, Golden Child has always been jealous since childhood. As my cousin, I'm begging you guys, stop putting stuff in parentheses. Stop it. I can't. I can't deal with all the side stories. I can't. As my cousins and I were always close, we'd laugh, be goofy, and play together, and have love and mutual respect for one another. My closest cousins are almost like sisters to me. Golden Child was always too special to hang around us, yet is jealous of our closeness. Golden Child tried to triangulate me with at least one of them and was going on a narc smear campaign when I told him to piss off and went no contact after he sabotaged me at work. Another story. A few cousins kindly informed me of the smears and they weren't buying it. LOL. Love my cousins. My cousins on both sides picked up on Golden Child's narcissism early on. They had his number, everyone does, and he doesn't even seem to care. In fact, one side of my cousins dubbed him Mr. Inheritance, as if it was so obvious he coveted our grandparents' money and was sending some major ass and was kissing some major ass for a while there. Money that our narcissistic father now has. So of course Golden Child has been kissing ass like there's no tomorrow, although not sure about recently. Something may have happened, as it seems as though Golden Child status has been transferred to my younger half-sis, narcissistic father's only daughter. By the way, narcissistic father has 7 wives. My mom was first, a half-bro and a sis were from second wife. Firstborn of each seems to be the Golden Child, the youngest are the scapegoats. He had already discarded the youngest sibling, my half-brother, after he rebelled in a big way almost 2 decades ago. He seems he has taken me off the back burner and reinstated me as the scapegoat to replace the youngest. No thanks, I do not accept the position. When I stood up to him, he then discarded me. When our son and our son's needs all the love he can get, and my wife and I are reeling from the diagnosis. Could you please let me know your assessment of my father and older Golden Child sibling? My take is Golden Child's either an overt narc or a flat-out sociopath. Narcissistic father seems to be a covert narc as he acts differently to other people, though he seems he's getting more overt and perhaps slipping the mask off more often as he ages now in his 70s. Not sure about my half-sister. She is now the Golden Child, so it seems, and basically does not acknowledge narcissistic father's narcissism. However, we were both the only 2 raised by our mothers, albeit hers is different and I never knew her mom that well. Sis offered to send us some ketamine test strips for diabetes that we couldn't find here. But after months, she never got around to it, even though she is a master degreed dietitian and has a certification in diabetic nutrition as well. I am also unable to make any assessment of my mother. She seems like a total empath at times. She cries profusely during tearjerker movies. A bit of a hypochondriac, but I cannot explain why she would not take Golden Child to see a shrink or punish him more to stop his physical abuse of me when young. And she said to me at one point when I was adult, why can't you be more like Golden Child? She actually went to live with Golden Child as he gained a lot of money via stock options with his company. I forecasted to myself how that was going to work out. Sure enough, that only lasted a few months. I was never informed why exactly she moved back out so quickly, but I can guess. Best, Kirk. All right. So on to the email. From the father. Did you get my email a couple weeks about grandson's birthday gift? Haven't heard back, so was wondering. You mean the email from a week ago? You didn't require a response from me before opening my mail, so I guess I didn't realize you required a response after the fact. Also been a bit preoccupied with getting my son's diabetes under control. As for my son's gift, I'm sure he'll love it. Thanks. Well, just okay, thanks would have been sufficient. Next time I will request a response. Your second sentence contradicts the first, just asking you to have a little respect. Why do you think we haven't been back since the last time? Don't understand why you're so angry. I have supported you both financially and morally. What's your problem? Yes, you've helped here and there financially, morally, but not so much in the respect and time departments. You make it sound as if we've been dependent on you financially for the past 15 years. See what I mean? Yes, you've helped out a few times, and we appreciate that. But that has no bearing on the respect issue. And I am not the one with the problem unless you consider not tolerating disrespect a problem. Look, you sold the solid oak growth teak cabinet for the cheap laminated for the price of cheap laminated teak without even discussing it with me. You turned your back on me and walked away when I tried to show you scans of my neck in an attempt to educate you to understand the seriousness. You and your wife told me I should man up when I requested you soften the suspension on your overly hardened truck because flicking a switch with your fingers is so difficult, because it was causing me pain, which can last days, as if to say I am a pussy for being crippled. I've played in football, entire games, offense and defense. I've run 10K and 45:06, and then there is the kayaking, etc. I could push my body pain tolerance more than most people. So if I tell you I'm in dire chronic pain, you better believe it's serious, and it is. But it seems you don't want to understand. Also, when my wife and I both cooked dinner there, it was great job, my wife. You told me Golden Child got you that job, as if earning a degree and interviewing well had nothing to do with it. No, he did not give me the PLM job. If Golden Child got me a job, as you say, the job he got me was working next to a high school grad for the first 9 months. Even though I had a bachelor's degree, I am not the one who got the PLM job from within. In addition, you make almost no effort at keeping in touch. And the reason we haven't been in touch much lately is because I stopped being the only one doing it. One-way relationships don't work. You know, stuff like that doesn't go over well. And it seems to be continuing with opening my mail without running it by me once again. So I am inclined to straighten you out. My fault here is I should have straightened you out years ago. No, I am not angry. Nice attempt to paint me in the wrong and not recognize your problem. I'm just not willing to tolerate any more disrespect. Well, you all wanted me to man up, so there you go. Okay. 1, please see that you have all your U.S. mail sent to your Thailand address. 2, you shoved that cabinet down my throat and it cost me over $700 to deal with it without a thank you. It sat in my garage almost a year without any help from you to get rid of it. 3, you didn't cook the dinner, your wife did, so you put a little time in it. Your wife deserved all the credit. 4, we paid for your flight here and back. You took to Bakersfield to meet your mother and never got the thanks from you. 5, I made a small statement that Golden Child helped you get the job. You turn it around as if I blame you because it didn't work out. 6, as for your neck, I was towing a small trailer and couldn't lower the shocks because it would make the trailer dolphin. 7, I only opened your mail to see if I could help you, as I did paying your driver's license and getting it renewed. The conclusion for a 50-year-old guy to carry all that baggage and anger, and a person that can't address the situation at the time bothers them, needs to take a good look at themselves instead of blaming others for their selfish ego, pride, and anger issues. So please do not respond to this, as I do not want to continue any more dialogue with you. You are not the one I thought you were. I read emails and messages from you last year and never had any idea you were like this. You say I don't respect you. Well, when have you ever respected me, seriously, or your mother? For all the good things that happened during your trip, it's sad you remember all the negative things. Wow, what a sociopath you are. But I've known that for decades. Most of what you are saying here is complete BS. I lived here for 15 years. No one should be sending me mail there. Don't blame me for other people. 2, I never shoved the cabinet down your throat. Like that could ever happen. No, I had asked before sending. I was attempting to get you some trade business going, and had plans to rent a truck and take it to a few places while I was there. Plans and an attempt at doing business, which you killed. Sorry I took up a 1 square meter of precious space in the corner of your garage. Question: are you also responsible for the disappearance of my speaker cabinet I was storing at Grandpa's house in SB? 3, the fuck I didn't cook dinner, jackass. Both my wife and I put in equal effort. Your statement here is a prime example of what I'm talking about. 4, we thanked you many times. Too bad you don't remember. 5, that was no small statement. You screamed at me. Golden child got you that job. Typical of a sociopath to remember things completely distorted. 6, speaking of distorted, you were not towing any trailer when I asked you to soften the suspension, as if it makes a difference. We were going to Castroville or wherever, where you stopped by the chiropractor. No trailer. When the trailer was on, there was no problem and no request for me. The weight smooths out the ride. See, this is the bullshit I'm talking about. I can't have a conversation with you because you just get butthurt, defensive, unreasonable, and even make shit up. That's why I haven't taken you to task until now. It's been impossible to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you, as evidenced by your butthurtness right now. And you wonder why I didn't talk to you about things and the time they happen. Good grief. The rest of your rant is just butthurt nonsense. I've always shown respect for you. I was the one doing all the visiting for how many years? You never stopped by my place once. Who is showing disrespect in this situation? Of course, I remember the good things too, but in this conversation, we're not talking about those because they are not relevant to your issue of disrespect. Once again, like the sociopath you are dishonestly trying to paint me wrong simply because you are being challenged on your attitude. Admit it, you're a sociopath, same as your favorite son and firstborn, who is a full-fledged narcissistic sociopath, and anyone who knows him. And anyone who knows him knows that. Just ask any of his cousins. Oh, and I don't have an ego, as you say. You are engaging in projection. My ego was beaten out of me by your firstborn at an early age, as well from your making me feel like an outsider in my own family at an early age. When you take your firstborn to go out and leave me alone, you and your firstborn are the ones with cartoonishly overinflated, self-serving egos. Look how you're acting now. About to disown me because I'm calling you out on your propensity for disrespect and bias. Like a true sociopath, you have no empathy for others. You have no concept of what I am going through or what your grandson is going through now. It's all about you. You haven't even asked how my son is doing. Seems you just don't care. Maybe you think of him as just a half-breed like your racist firstborn says. Kirk, don't ever ask me for anything again. You mean nothing. I've heard that. Bro, I thought you weren't responding. I thought he wasn't responding anymore. You will never get anything from me again. You are not the son I imagined. Imagined? Why would you have to imagine your son? You either know your son or you don't. You don't imagine a son. Maybe that's the problem. Your father just makes up fantasies in his head about who should be what. That's what the narcissist does. They build the narrative of who and what we are, of what happened, how it went down. It's their fantasy they're living in. You got to stop living in the narcissist's fantasy. And you are so jealous of your brother, and you're right, and you are right. I have no respect for you. Well, there you go. So he's right. So you don't respect him. So all this other stuff you said is bullshit because you did it because you didn't respect him. Thank you. I used to have to hear I was jealous of Precious myself, you know. That's what they do. It's the same tactics over and over again. Same issue with your mother, who you didn't talk to for 3 years as you totally disrespected her. Sorry you feel the way you do. We're done here. That's what I thought. Hence the reason I could not talk to you anymore. No, we're not done here. You do not dictate the terms anymore. And this has zero to do with jealousy. Nice attempt to deflect and repaint my disappointment in you as jealousy over a golden child. Typical. As if I would be jealous of a friendless, narcissistic, racist jackass. You were probably more jealous over the relationship, not him. Jealous over what he got and what he got away with, not him. You're not jealous of the golden child. You're jealous over the treatment they got. That's what the narcissist is confusing. No, I'm not jealous of him. He's a fucking idiot. I'm not jealous of my brother. My brother is a fat loser who has to buy his friends. And before that, my parents had to buy his friends for him. I was jealous over the treatment the golden child got. I wasn't jealous over the fucking golden child. And that's what they hope they can shove down their throat. Because you feel like, oh, maybe I am jealous. No, I'm not. You're not jealous, but you have a right to be jealous over that treatment. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? That's your whole problem with your whole family structure. Is that you're not jealous of your golden child, of the golden child. You're not jealous of your brother. You're jealous of the treatment your brother got as a child from your mother and your father. You're jealous of the shit he got away with. That's what you're jealous of. And that's fine. The reality is he seems jealous of me. He hasn't a creative bone in his body and no friends while I do. And the thing with my mom, well, that's another lie added to your bullet point of lies of above. You know damn well who disrespected who in that situation, and it wasn't me. Control issues and lying are typical traits of the sociopath. Just as Golden Child lied to you about a tech company not using my development of remarking very tiny microchip packages when they did, and also tried to hold my career path over my head in an attempt to impose his will on me. If you can't be honest with me, man, what moral high ground do you think you have? And then, as expected, fearing loss of control, you hold money over my head in an attempt to bully your distortions and fabrications down my throat. What a disgrace. You keep claiming I am dwelling in the past, not even close. It's not like we can learn from the future. It hasn't happened yet. What else is there to learn from but the past? The past is the past. It's the mantra of someone who refuses to face or learn from the past to protect their overinflated ego in order to facilitate. I hope this rain clears up because it's killing me. It's killing me. In order to facilitate a better future, we must confront and learn from mistakes of the past as best we can, and nobody is perfect. Money is of no importance to me, as I have learned that time is the golden currency of life. Quality time with family, that is what I wish I had more of from you. Despite your age, you still have a lot of learning and growing up to do. Good luck with that. All right. I know you wanted all these opinions about who's what. Your whole family's narcissistic. But your problem from your family has been based on you having this guilt over being accused of jealousy and your brother. And you're not jealous of your brother. You're jealous of the treatment your brother got. Who wouldn't be? And then if they ever, you should be no contact with him. But if you're not, and that ever comes back, say like, no, I'm not jealous of him. He's a fucking loser. He's a loser. I'm jealous of how you treated him. I'm jealous of the favoritism. I'm jealous of the fucking, I'm jealous that he got, I'm not jealous of the abuse. I'm pissed off over the abuse, and I have every fucking right to be. Somebody treated somebody better than you, you'd be jealous of that treatment too. That's what you have to, that's the key to your story. And that's what you got to keep in mind. Don't run away from the jealousy thing. Because you're not jealous of the person, you're jealous of the treatment. So thank you for your message and your story. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. I'm gonna have to give my voice a little while rest. Hopefully the rain clears up. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal and the email links in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.